So here's a calculation to determine the amount of interest that should be accrued on December 31st, 2019. This is year end. So we will have interest receivable, much like accounts receivable. This is cash that's expected to come in, but is not cash yet. Our credit will be interest revenue. So we're earning money in exchange for lending it out to Joe. Note that exactly half the annual interest has been accrued since half a year has passed since the loan was made. On the maturity date, the cash is collected and the following entry is made. So this was a 1-year note. So exactly 1 year after June 30th, 2019, this will be June 30th, 2020, we will collect the cash from Joe. So cash will be our debit. We will have interest revenue as our credit. This will be for the next 6 months after December 31st. So we will kind of emulate what's happened here up to December 31st. We will reverse the interest receivable of our last journal entry. Because once we collect the full amount, there's nothing outstanding. On that note, the note receivable will also go away. Once Joe pays us, there will be no reason to keep the note on our books. Okay, so cash will be the sum of all of these three credits. We'll start with the credits first. Interest revenue will be 300 again. If the first half of the note was 300, the second half will be 300. The reversal, we get a 300 debit in the last entry. This will be a 300 credit to make it go away. And the face value of our note was $10,000. So we earned 6%. When we add up the credits that confirm that, 10,600 is the cash we will have coming in. If the note is dishonored, in other words, Joe doesn't pay, the following entry is made to recognize the expiry of the note and generation of a new AR. So it's going to be a similar journal entry. The only difference is going to be cash. So we get a cash debit. Now we'll have an AR debit. We'll transform the note into an AR balance. So accounts receivable Joe, and then we're going to have some interest revenue generated from the last 6 months, January 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2020. And then we will have the reversal from 2 entries ago, interest receivable. That's the adjusting entry we made at year end. And then we will also get rid of the note receivable. Joe didn't pay, so he still owes us, but we've transformed that into an AR. So we're no longer accruing interest. The agreement is now over in terms of the note, just an outstanding balance. So 10,600, we now have AR, and then the other credits are going to be the same as the last entry. Okay. A couple of ratios to finish up this chapter. The quick ratio. This decision-making tool should be viewed as a more stringent measure than the current ratio of a business's ability to pay its current liabilities with its current assets. So for the quick ratio, the only items you have up top are cash, short-term investments, and net current receivables. The main thing we've kicked out is inventory. The denominator is still total current liabilities. So similar to the current ratio, but there's no inventory included. The higher the quick ratio, the better the business's ability to pay off current liabilities. Hence, managers prefer to see their quick ratio increasing from year to year. Let's go ahead and try a question. On June 30th, the bookstore holds $5,000 cash, $8,000 in short-term investments, and $10,000 in net current receivables. The account payable, salary payable, and the current portion of note payable, which is the portion of the note they're doing the next year, add up to $15,000. What is the quick ratio? So take a minute to try this, and we'll continue here in the same video. So once you add up your three assets at the top and you put your current liabilities at the bottom, you should get a quick ratio of 1.53. Next, we have day sales and receivables. This concept relates to the collection period. How many days does it take to collect the average level of receivables? Ideally, an organization wants to keep this as short as possible. The sooner a business can collect cash, the faster it can be used for paying bills and funding growth. So there are a couple steps to figuring this one out. First, you just figure out 1 day sales. Take your total net sales and divide it by 365 days. That'll give you sales dollars per day. And number two, day sales in average AR. You take your average net AR and you divide it by 1 day sales, which you calculated in the last step. So the average AR is just your beginning net AR and your ending net AR, and you divide that number by 2. So taking average, like we've done before. Assume that if your bookstore had $25,000 in net sales, with a beginning net receivable balance of $8,000 and ending net receivable balance of $12,000. What is the day sales and receivables? So try these two to wrap up this chapter. We'll continue in about 90 seconds here in the same video. So for 1 day sales, you should get 25,000 total net sales divided by 365 days, and you end up with a rate of 68.49 per day. And that feeds into your next step as the denominator. Up top, you have 8,000 plus 12,000 as your average AR balances, beginning and end. Divide the sum by 2 and divide by 68.49 per day, and you should get a rate of 146 days. What that implies is, on average, it takes you 146 days to collect what you sell. Right? So it's not a great rate. It's something that the bookstore can probably work on, because 146 days is getting close to half the year, and you don't really want that. You want your average to be maybe 1 month or a little bit more than that, but not necessarily this long. So this implies that maybe the bookstore has some things to work on. So that wraps up chapter 9. We're getting close to the end of the course here. Remember to submit your chapter 9 homework and try the quiz.